My name is Gavin and I bring you simple videos on self-development. Now, as you know, in my last few videos, I've been sharing with you my thoughts on communication. And so in natural progression to that, I thought today would be a good time to share with you my views on the NLP Communication Model so that once you hear me out, you can see what a difference it can make to your life. Neuro Linguistic Programming, or NLP, is an approach to communication and to personal development. Now, I'd like to begin by asking you, how do you understand what I'm saying? And you might say, why? I see the video and I hear your voice. And that's exactly the point I'm making. Any external event that happens around us, we take in through our five senses. Now, I'm sure all of us in school had learned about our five senses of sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. Well, the terminology that we use in NLP is visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. So any event, be it a date that you go on, be it a movie that you watch, or be it your first job interview, any external event you take in through these five senses. And as you take in this external event, your brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes. Now, these are three processes which keep happening all the time in your brain. Let me explain to you each of these so that you can understand these better. A deletion, an example of deletion is when you go for a movie and you're watching the movie and people are entering in late. If at the end of the movie I was to ask you which rows were the people who came in late sitting in, you might not know because you are so focused on the movie that your brain has deleted those people coming in late and where they sat. It's deleted that information. Now you see, it's estimated that we receive a lot of information each second, millions of bits of information each second, and we can't make sense of all of it. So we delete quite a bit of it and only consciously make sense of some part of it. Distortion. If you were walking down a dark alley and you saw a thick fat rope lying there, what would your first thought be? I'm sure most of you already thought that it seems like a snake. Now that's distortion. What is there actually is a thick fat rope, but your brain distorts it for you to think that it's a snake. Generalization. If you were to walk in a dark room, what's the first thing you would do? Now I'm sure you're thinking, what kind of a question is he asking? Obviously, I'll switch on the light. Bear with me a little further and I'm going to ask you, how do you know that when you turn on a switch, the light will come on? You see, we've done this as kids, and when we did it the first few times, we were amazed. So if you see a child who's around 1.5, or even 2 years old, she or he could be amazed by the light coming on at the turning on of a switch. But once we do it for the first few times, say we do it for the first 20 times, now we know for the next 20,000 times, turning on the switch will mean that the light will come on, or some electronic gadget will start. That's an example of generalization. Now, by themselves, these three processes are neither good nor bad. It's how we use them that could make them either useful for us or not so useful, or even hamper our productivity or our growth. Take deletion, for example. If you're a student who has deleted people coming in late for the movie, probably it's helped you focus at the movie. Or say you've deleted your friends chit-chatting while your professor is talking, it's helped you focus on the professor. But if you're a student who has deleted from your mind the number of times that you've done well in an exam just because you didn't do well in the recent one that you gave, now that's not helpful. Similarly, distortion. If you're a hockey player who distorts the goalkeeper to be much smaller than she is, it will probably help you score a goal. But if you're a student who distorts an exam to be the be all and end all of life, then that's not a very healthy distortion. You see, exams are important, but they're not the be all and end all of our lives. Generalization, we learn through generalizations. So you learned that turning on a switch means the light would come on. But say, for example, if you had an experience where two shopkeepers in one locality cheated you, and you say that everyone in that locality is a cheat, so you've generalized, that's not a very useful generalization. In fact, if you look around you in the world today, there are a lot of these generalizations that we make about people from different regions, people from different localities or backgrounds different from us. Now, we delete, distort, and generalize through our internal filters of language, values, beliefs, memories, decisions, and meta programs. If this were a webinar or a face-to-face training, I would explain in depth each of these internal filters. However, since this is a short video and I don't want you to delete too much information from this, I'm going to keep it very short by just telling you the internal filters, not going in depth into each of these. Based on this, we form our internal representations. Our internal representations could be in the form of a picture, a sound, a feeling, a smell, a taste, or a thought. So let's say that you formed an internal representation of the world around you and you think it's a beautiful place to live in. But your friend thinks that it's a horrible place to live in. Each of you have a different internal representation to the world around you. Now, when you communicate with different individuals, you will realize that all of us have different maps of the world or different representations of how we perceive the world around us. And many a time when we talk to each other, we try to impose our maps on others. I think it's essential that we hear the other person and understand their map of the world, their internal representations. That will help you communicate better. Coming back to your own mind, internal representations influence your state, and your state influences your physiology. Now, the interesting part here is these three actually influence each other. And if you were to say that you have an internal representation of the world being not such a nice place to live in, and because of that your state of mind is always that you feel sad or you feel low, and your physiology is one where you have rounded shoulders or you breathe shallow and you're always stressed because you're feeling stressed also. The fastest to change or the easiest to change also is the physiology. Yeah. So stand up straight, spread your arms wide, take a deep breath and smile and see how you feel. Each time when you feel low, just do that and see what happens. Change your physiology. You see, some ways of changing our physiology at times when we feel low is actually playing a game or doing some kind of physical exercise. Physiology can then influence your state then influences also your internal representations. Yeah. If you can manage your state, I'm sure you can manage your life and you can manage your performance, because all of these three influence our behavior, which in turn influence the results that we get in life. So very, very important that to influence your results positively, you need to learn how to manage your state. Yeah. So remember that any internal representation that you have has been due to deletion, distortion, and generalization based on your internal filters from what you have taken in from the external event. So it's not the event that influences your result, it's the meaning that you've given that event that influences your result. Say, how can this benefit you? And as I mentioned earlier, you can manage your state to manage your results. You can use the NLP communication model and the understanding that different people have different internal representations, and this can help you to build rapport. So you can use it to build rapport with people. Understand their map of the world rather than imposing your own. You can use the model to actually challenge your own limiting beliefs. What are beliefs that you had which would probably true for you in the past but are not true today? You can be aware of your own biases through generalizations that you've made about people or about situations. You can actually understand the power of your physiology and how you can influence your results by paying attention to your physiology. If you like this video, do click on the like button, and if you'd like to hear more from me, subscribe to my channel. If you would ever want to send me a message, these are my coordinates on LinkedIn and Instagram. You can get in touch with me if there's anything that you would like to ask. Thank you for your time. Wish you a great day ahead.